Okay, so I am recording this one. Okay, you can just listen. I'll give you time to ask question. Now, so last time we talked about the different laws, and there are also uploads in the YouTube that explains the different laws as what I have discussed last time. We go now to this is actually the module that I'm going to use, and you will be reading this one. Quizzes and exams will come from this module. Okay, so it's not yet perfect, but along the way I may add several topics, okay, in relation to our topic. So the module description, this is a module introduced to students to fundamental concept source of fundamental society. It explores how laws are created and enforced and examine systems and institutions that uphold the rule of law. Now the law was created basically to have a peaceful and orderly society. If you recall your history of society, it's the nature of man that creates certain rules. Okay, to name one, we have a famous philosopher, John Locke, okay, who espouses the um, social contract theory, which according to him, man originates from the nature. No, it's like man is a wolf to other man, or in Latin, homo homini lupus est. So since you are a wolf to me, I am afraid of you. One day you might ransack my house, take all my belongings, and it's now yours. So also, same as what you feel, you also afraid of me. I might one day took all your possessions, get all your belongings, get what you have um, established in life, and it will now be yours. So in order to protect that, we come up with a social contract theory. Okay, so basically that's how laws were born. It originates naturally from the basic instinct of a human being. So it's the nature itself, it's the nature, okay, that come up with these laws. It's the needs that the society at the time should address. So it is a problem at the time that properties will be taken by others, so they come up with certain rules. Now, by the end of the module, students will be able to define the law, explain its purpose in society, identify and describe the main sources of law. We have the legislation passed by the legislative branch. If you recall your class in Constitution, there are three branches. So the one who makes the law is the legislative branch. Case law coming from the judicial branch, okay, and other is by customs. What do you mean by customs? These are traditions, although not written, but still part of the law. To explain further, it may not be in writing, but it if it's proven that it is a custom in that place, then it will be implemented. Okay, so how to prove, by the way, that that is indeed a custom of the place? Okay, it is repeated for several times and it is known by the people, because customs are not the same, okay, in other places. It's only particular in a specific location. It is not at all times the same. Okay, so it's for you now to prove in court that it's indeed a custom of the place. A concrete example to prove this is a case in Cebu. Okay, a long time ago, the mode of transportation is through Calesa. Okay, a wagon drawn by horse and passengers boarded that Calesa or wagon. So one day, the passenger boarded the Kalesa, and while the while they reached that place known as Pasel, which is a marketplace of Cebu City, while the driver unload the cargo, the horse ran. The horse ran and caused damage to some of the vendors. So it was sued in court for damages, but the court dismissed. Why? Because it's a custom of the place that the driver of the wagon or kalesa should help the passenger to unload the cargo. If in that custom or tradition it caused damage, okay, that damage will not be interpreted against the one who practiced that good custom. But it must be a good custom, not a bad custom. So of course it's for the court to determine whether that is indeed a custom and that custom is a good custom. Now, the other is we have to distinguish between the types of law. We have the public, okay, and private, and civil and criminal, as we explained lately the different laws, right? In the videos that I uploaded yesterday, which I presume you already watched it just few minutes, or was it in this class that I was discussing that? So even if it was in this class but you were not around that time, you can still view it, okay? So it's for your own good, it's for you to be developed, not only during my class time but also while you are in your respective residences. Now, the fourth one, to understand the structure, roles of key legal institutions like courts, legislatures, and law enforcement. These are found in the three branches, right? Court for the judicial branch, legislature for the legislative branch, and then law enforcement, and that's basically the executive branch. I will not repeat my discussion on that. I have an extensive discussion in the YouTube. I recall it was in Article 6, okay? Simply legislative department, where I have that same discussion. I don't want to repeat it in this class, okay? But for your own consumption, you can actually view it and watch it. You will learn many things from that. So I don't have to waste my time explaining same things all over again. Now, and the fifth, explain their basic principles of legal reasoning and interpretation. So we have in law school, we have a subject, statutory construction. It simply means that the laws are interpreted differently, or there are ways of interpreting it, and it's not at all time the same, okay? So like a Bill of Rights or in the Constitution, okay, there are portions there that it must be construed in favor of the citizen, like the Bill of Rights, okay, and it is always against the state. But there are also portions there that its interpretation is against the citizen, okay. Taxation, if you claim to be exempt, you have to prove that you really are exempt, okay. The burden of proof now shifted to the one who claims that he is exempt, okay. But other rules are interpreted generally except the one who claims to be exempt. Now we go to number 6, discuss the rule of law, okay. So as a student in this subject, you have to abide by the rules, okay. We are a servant of the law, which means that you have to obey the law even if you don't like it, okay. The law are made, and if you know how it was crafted, it comes from the people that you choose and who are presumably capable of doing it, although in reality it may not, but there was a presumption they are the persons in authority to do it, okay. If you challenge it, then probably you have to run, file your certificate of candidacy, and replace them if you think you are capable or better than them, okay. You may be capable, but if you don't have support from the people, still you don't have any chance. That's how politics works. You have to be probably in a certain political party to win. If you don't have it, if you don't have any political party, chances are you will not have the vote from the people. Or if you have a bad character, you have an ill reputation, people are throwing negative things against you because of what you do, you will not have any chance. That's why only good men will eventually win in politics. So sometimes not the intelligence. Okay, there are many intellectual people around you, but they will not have any chance. They will not even receive. They do not even receive a vote. Now we go now into the meaning of the law. What is law? Okay, so in this module we're going to define law. Okay, functions of law in the society, distinguish natural law and the legal positivism, which we discussed as a background in our first meeting, and then law and morality. Okay, so we go directly to the first module, okay, on this topic. Okay, I'll jump now to its content. Okay, so before I go into its history, I'll jump now into what we have discussed. So I'll just go back later on to that topic. Okay, so these are the things that I have discussed last time. So some of which are just a matter of reading. I already explained that to you last time. So I'll go now to what is the meaning of the law. It is a system of rules, okay, created and enforced through social or governmental institution to regulate behavior. It provides the framework for resolving disputes, protecting rights, and maintaining order in society. So basically, the purpose of that is order in society. Now, that actually explains why we have that social contract theory. Okay, so we have to regulate the basic instinct. Okay, I had a writing about natural instinct of man, that these instincts actually rooted from the very nature of animals, no? In as much as there are people who believe that strictly believe in a dichotomy between religion and the vis-a-vis science, well, there are people who also believe the merging of that seemingly contradicting views of the origin of man. And I, on my part, I believe in the merging of these two beliefs. Well, if you read the Bible, I also been reading it from cover to cover, not only the first cover and the last cover, but every word there. Okay, and made a research vis-a-vis a contrary concept of the scientists. Okay, so to explain further, so that you will have a little background of what I'm talking, is that, you know, there's no conflict actually, in as much as the Bible talks about one day, one sunrise and sunset, and then the following day creation of the other things, and then later on plants, animals, and then lately human being, and then on the seventh day God rested. If you look at also the pattern of this evolution from the scientific view, there's no difference. Only that the counting of years could even be millions. There's no problem actually with the chronology of this process. Only that the chronology would have been different, because at the time people cannot understand millions of years. Okay, what they understand is only sunrise and sun. That is why the writings in the Bible is counted by one sunrise and one sunset, but that could mean millions of years. Okay, and the last process there was a human being, and on the following day God rested, and that's the end of the revolution. And eventually, right now, we keep on evolving. Okay, we evolve from those lower forms of animals. Now, if you wish to substantiate my discussion on this, I had a writing. Okay, it's published in a journal which you can read. Okay, it's a long discussion, but I cannot explain to you well in few minutes. Okay, so for you to understand what I'm talking is to read that and give me later on an insight of what you read if you believe on what I said. But the point there is that that's how actually the law was created. It's based on the nature of man that we are governed by instinct, and if this instinct will not be regulated by laws, we tend to become like animals where people kill each other. Okay, you know how they survive? It's through survival of the fittest. Okay? Strong shall live and the weak shall perish. What happened to those who are weak? What will happen to women who are physically, although some may be strong to men, but the nature of man is stronger because of the need for us to survive. Okay, so it's not in the need of women to provide. Okay, it's their need to rep, to propagate. Okay, to continue the species. Okay, but men is their job is to protect. That's how we are trained, because that's the nature. Okay, that's the nature of men. So observe, for example, why is most of the male keeps on fighting? Male animals, like if they say a threat to their family, like if they see it's another male animal, they fight, right? Because according to them, even men and even animals still has that reptile brain, which by nature men fight each other. Okay, so of course there are reasons behind fighting, like for protection of the opposite sex. Okay, then propagation of their species. That's it, basically the nature of it. So who's going to regulate all these instincts? Otherwise we will be killing each other. Okay, the world now is very chaotic. I'm waiting for that August 8th, where the warning of, okay, a deadline of Trump to Putin that is going to end the war and give another sanction. And right now they are in a position where a miscalculation would end up in a World War III. Okay, so those are instincts. They are not so concerned with reason. Okay, and I think I'm clinging more to church rather than to politics. Okay, politicians sometimes kill each other. It's governed by instinct. Look at them, leaders are fighting, and they they're the one who caused the population to decline. Okay, but whereas if you read my articles, you're going to see that indeed we need to be united to survive. Cells and animals combine themselves to become organ. An organ combines into different system, and then basically the whole system, like of an organism, is created in order for it to survive. Okay, and if things are threatened, it basically evolved itself to be protected. Okay, so if we are not going to unite, like cells, if they didn't unite, then they will eventually die. Okay, so even cancers, as I read, that it's a tissue who is threatened by its existence, who tries to evolve just to survive, and it's become a problem. Okay, because they were threatened, the cells were threatened of its existence, but it's the very nature of the cells to survive. One way of surviving is to become a cancerous cells. Now, so you better read that writing, okay, my publication, okay, title is that just search my name and evolution. And definition of law, we go into the different authors who define it. Several scholars and schools of thought have defined law differently. Here are key definitions. One, we have the Blackstone, the John Austin. Okay, we are going to discuss it. Let's start first with the Blackstone definition. Law in its most general and comprehensive sense signifies a rule of action, okay, prescribed by some superior, which the inferior is bound to obey. So, recently, okay, in our academic council meeting, okay, so there was an MC, a memorandum circular from the president. I think it was approved by the board already. Faculty has no is not in a position to object it or make any, although supposedly that objection should have been carried prior to its prior to the approval of the higher authority. But once it is there, the the inferior should have no other option but to obey. Okay, what will happen if you keep on insisting you you are an inferior, and yet you keep on insisting the laws passed by the superior? Okay, the effect would be that you become a rebel. Okay, and that will make the society chaotic. In fact, I just objected recently, and I said that faculty is not in a position to object it, if particularly if it comes from the board already. We are not in a position to object. Okay, otherwise it will only delays the process of the of implementing it. The job of the president is to execute. Okay, to execute what the board approves. So if it is for execution, they have no other option but to obey it. If they're going to delay it for some other reasons, okay, take note, if you read the revised penal code, there is a provision there on sedition. I think particularly paragraph D. Okay, so so that you will be participating in this class, and I don't know if you are listening. Can you read that section there, revised penal code, and then on sedition, read paragraph D, and or read first the provision of sedition, and then on paragraph D, go directly to paragraph D. Anybody who would like to participate? Okay, you know, I'm very generous. I can give you, say one. Si Cedric James Aguilar. Raise his hand. Go on, James.
Yes, sir. In the Philippines, Revised Penal Code Article 139 defines sedition as a crime committed by a group of people who, through force, intimidation, or other illegal means, publicly and tumultuously seek to attain specific objectives. Paragraph D of Article 139 specifically addresses the commission of any act of hate or revenge against private persons or any social class for any political or social end.
There's another one. It may not be paragraph D, but there's a portion there that those who will not obey an administrative order, what's it in D? Or look at other section about that crime when you do not obey certain administrative orders. Do you have it? Can you find it there? About disobeying or who will not obey the administrative order. Take note, this is an executive branch, so their job is to execute. If you're not going to obey, you become a rebel, and the crime would probably be a sedition. Okay? Can you find it there? And there are enumeration, and one of which is not to obey the administrative order. Anybody? Again, same person I'm calling. So can you read below or a portion there that would indicate that if you're not going to obey, or maybe in some other section of sedition or um, any crimes against public interest? Yeah, I'll give you points for that, no? For this time, 3, and then should you wish to add more for that particular question, if you can point exactly the exact provision, I will add. Or anybody who would like to read the exact provision? Okay, Gerald Lu. Will not read your family name because these are recorded. Go on.
Madunggan ako, may third draft.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. So yes, Sir Aguilar, dear Aguilar, have state given the definition, no? So the crime of sedition in Article 139 is committed by persons who rise publicly and tumultuously in order to attain by force any of the following objects. Now, if by penalty, sir, that's now referred not to Article 140 and also Article 141 and 142. If we go by the penalty itself, the penalty for sedition is that the leader of a sedition, especially the leader, shall suffer the penalty of prison mayor in its minimum period and a fine not exceeding 10,000 pesos. Then now for other person participating therein shall suffer the penalty of prison I still don't know how to pronounce it. Correctional in its maximum period and a fine not exceeding 5,000 pesos. Now, for discuss this, Article 141, conspiracy to commit sedition. Persons conspiring to commit the crime of sedition shall be punished by prison correctional in its medium period, and a fine not exceeding 2,000 pesos. So, yes, there are multiple to answer penalty and then different forms from conspiracy and then for the act of sedition itself, and then there Article 142 inciting to sedition, the penalty of prison correctional in its maximum period and a fine not exceeding 2,000 pesos shall be imposed upon any person who, without taking any direct part in the crime of sedition, should incite others to the accomplishment of any of the acts which constitute sedition by means of speeches and other medium, proclamations, writings, emblems, and so on and so forth.
Oh yeah, but yeah, still I give you 3 points. So for the one, there's a portion there that those who, can you cite a provision there that those who did not obey or something like disobeying an administrative order, like an order from the executive branch and it was not obeyed? Anybody who would like to?
Let me see lang, sir. Fine lang.
Yeah. Continue.
Sir, I think it's in Article 151 of the Revised Penal Code, sir, which
Oh, can you read?
basically, yes, sir, which basically covers the disobedience to persons in authority or their agents. So basically, anyone who disobeys administrative orders shall be penalized, or who penalizes individuals who resist or seriously disobey such officials while they are performing their duties, sir.
Oh yeah, but
151 of the Revised Penal Code.
yeah, but that's another criminal offense, no? But I think it's there. I'm sure it's there. I read it. That one, that's for another crimes. Still, it's another criminal offense. But there's another one, but it can be labeled as that, similar to sedition or similar to rebellion. Okay, sedition or rebellion or inciting to sedition. Okay, if you do not obey certain administrative order, you'll be liable. The reason behind that is for us to have an orderly society. So you really have to obey. Okay, so the executive branches are there for you to execute the law. And you have no other option but to obey it. If you don't obey it, then the society will be very chaotic. And that's basically the purpose why the law is created. Okay, so we go to other definition. okay, of John Austin, legal positivist. A rule laid down defines law as a rule laid down for the guidance of an intelligent being, okay, by an intelligent being having power over him. So the same as what the other one defines, okay, by the Blackstone, that it is the promulgated by the intelligent by the higher authority. Okay, so should you wish to become like, should you wish to be the one who will make the rule, then you have to be elected by the people and reach that becoming a superior. So same also in administrative cases, right? If the superior will not be obeyed, then there will be criminal offense, like insubordination is a criminal offense where a person, so an inferior, will disobey or not obey the order of the superior, especially if that order is legal. However, of course, there are reasons not to obey if the order is not legal. Okay, so if it's legal order within the bounds of the law, if it's not contrary to statutes, not contrary to the constitution, then you have no other option but to obey it. Okay, but if the order is to kill, which is against the law, you have the right to refuse. Otherwise, you will be the one to commit another crime. Now, Roscoe found, how did he defines the law? Law is a social institution to satisfy social wants. Okay, so well, I'm sure at your end you can define or explain this one further. It is a social institution indeed, okay, to satisfy social wants. It's a protection. It's more of a protection of a human being. Otherwise, if there's no law, our wants may not be protected. So to protect what we want, or what we, not basically personal desire, but a social wants, laws are created. Hart, how did he define law? Is a system of rules, including primary rules, okay, obligations in a contract, and secondary rules, okay, which refers to the rules about rules. Okay, examples: rules of recognition, rules of change, rules of adjudication. So it is a system of rules. So among the rules, there are also rules. Let's say there are laws passed by Congress. But if the law is not clear, you can come up with another rules. That's why Executive Order, Republic Act is born, because laws cannot comprehend everything that will happen. So as administrative bodies, like secretary of the certain department, which job is to execute the law. If the let's say laws passed by Congress about it, they have to make an IRR, or an administrative order, as the case may be. So that administrative order should not be contrary to the law that creates it. Okay, so, why is it so? Because laws are not perfect. There are certain cases that law may not be applicable, and that's the reason why we have so many cases. Okay, because when the law was created or passed, certain circumstances may arise. It does not think of all possible events that will happen. So, as you know, rules should be brief and concise. So it's probably one sentence or two, that's enough. But the cases that might arise later on has so many. Okay, so there are still rules on that rules. There may still be another orders or executive order or laws that may be passed. Okay, and even case law or decisions of the Supreme Court forms part of our legal system. Now, another guy, Holmes, how did he define Oliver Wendell Holmes? The prophecies of what the courts will do, in fact, and nothing more than pretentious of what I mean by law. Excuse me for a while. I'll have to address my basic need for a while.